views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hi, everyone. I'm Eileen Newman, your host for Mission BX. We're back remote, and I'm sure you all know why. Mission BX is a collaboration between BronxNet and the Center for Bronx Nonprofits at Hostos Community College. And today, even though we haven't traveled at all, but we're pretty much close to home in terms of who our guests are. Today, we'll be talking to Peter Mertens, the Assistant Dean of Continuing Ed and Workforce Development, and our new Vice President of Workforce Development, Evelyn Fernandez-Ketcham. And we're going to talk about the whole issue of continuing education, workforce development, and some great opportunities for people in the Bronx. So stick around, and we'll be right back with our guests. Hi, everyone. Again, I'm your host for Mission BX, Eileen Newman, and today we'll be with Peter Mertens and Evelyn Fernandez-Ketcham from Continuing Ed and Workforce that you do. But what is continuing education workforce development all about? And you've been there for a while, so can you give us some background?
Sure. Let me, first of all, Eileen, congratulations on the work that your show does in reaching the community in the Bronx and elsewhere in the city, and the great work that the Center for Bronx Nonprofits been doing pre-COVID, during COVID, and as we emerge out of COVID. And thanks for having us on your show today, because continuing ed and workforce development at Hostos has been building and growing a successful program. And this is actually our 20th year from when our provost, who's now president of the college, decided to make continuing education an important part of the college. And at that time, Carlos Molina, the dean, was tasked with building a robust program. And so he said, go out there and get everyone and anyone to come to the college. And we went a mile wide and an inch deep, doing everything from college for kids to swimming to yoga. And we had a handful of certificate programs. Approximately 10 years in, when we built and brought the community into the college, our president then at the time, who's now Chancellor, Felix Matos Rodriguez, said, you need to do a little bit more. And that's when Carlos brought in Evelyn, who was then the Director of Workforce Development for the division. And we took those 3 certificate programs and built over 50 industry recognized certificate programs that were reaching thousands of people who live and work in the South Bronx and throughout New York City. And it's been making a difference in allowing people to come to a community college, take programming, have a pathway into the college, and ideally get a job and build a pathway within employment. So it's been an exciting time as we build the programs. We're now in a third transition where during COVID, we had to rethink what we did, how we did it. And the first thing we did was train our faculty, our staff, and our students on how to use the different platforms to deliver our programs virtually. And that included giving students computers, laptops. They needed the access to it. And for us to be open virtually to serve students as best we could. As we come out of COVID now, our building on campus is open 5 days a week. We're there from 9 to 5. We have a great balance of tuition programs, grant programs, and contract programs that have returned to us. So we continue to build our training programs that lead to employment opportunities for everybody. It's an exciting time.
Which is great to hear, because as we know, it's also a challenging time. So Evelyn, can we shift to you to talk about now what? So we're still kind of in the arena of COVID, and which is why we're not sitting in your office with cameras. But so what's happening now? And I know that there have been, we also want you definitely to talk about a collaboration that's going on between CUNY colleges, which is very exciting. So could you tell us about some of the programs that you've been doing and then some of the new programs?
Sure. Thank you, Eileen. And thank you, Peter, for, really giving us the backdrop of, where we have been, where we're coming from to date. And I want to say that, while the global pandemic has amplified some of the issues that were already existing in our community. But I think we're taking it and seeing it as also presenting opportunities for us to continue to change and adapt to what's happening. Technology had already begun to revolutionize the way we behave. So now the pandemic, has created a now normal, if you will. And we have an opportunity to sort of stretch our thinking, and what is the role that continuing education and workforce development can play in our community in helping students transition to college and or work. And as Peter said, we're open, and our college and CUNY as a whole is doing that with a lot of thought and intent. We're not being reckless. Facilities in all of our buildings are awesome. They're making sure that anytime the buildings are open, there's, for in-person services, that we're taking care of and making sure that it is safe to do so. So I want to make sure that I say that. And Peter is right. The division has been through transformations in the last decade or so, and we're opening up 2022 with optimism. We have continued funding. The New York City community has always supported Hostos Community College, and we're in a good place now. While we've had to scale down many of the programs because we've had to adapt, we've had to make sure that our faculty and our instructors and staff adapted to the technology. How do we live in this now hybrid world? How do we educate? How do we, deliver instruction through these new methods? As Peter mentioned, we've had to help our students have devices, have internet connectivity, which is still an issue, right? We've not bridged the digital divide. So that's a challenge, but it is our responsibility to figure out, well, if we're sending you home to do an online course, what is it that you need as a student to fully succeed? And for continuing education and workforce development, that challenge is greater, right? Because they're hands-on programs for industry recognized credentials that really people need to be in person more so. So that component of helping our students figure out how to pass exams and do the hands-on component, we were forced early on to figure out, well, how do we bring in students safely so that they can complete the hands-on components of any industry recognized credential. But we're in a good place. A lot of our courses are hybrid, and we've managed and figured out, well, how do we help our students complete, the didactic component at home, and then come in safely to actually wrap up the hands-on component to pass the industry recognized credential. And then to that end, you mentioned, Eileen, yes, we're at a great time. So, our community college, Hostos, and our president were recipient of a large award by the Mackenzie Scott Scholarship, by the Mackenzie Scott. And our president, Coco de Filipis, she ensured that one of the initiatives out of that grant that we were awarded is to establish an adult and continuing education scholarship fund. So we're starting out with 25 scholarships for continuing education and workforce development students. And we're awarding those students that are underemployed $1,000, so that have participated and completed any of our courses. And if they want to enroll at Hostos, they may do so. And they can use the $1,000 to pay for a course, the college application, for books, for transportation, for childcare. We're looking for them to transition to the college and provide some cushion, right? So we're very excited about that. Right now, we already have over 20 students from continuing education that have already, started the process. We initially received over 70 applications, but we're starting with 20 students and reviewing the application. But this is going to be on a rolling basis. The success of this, we're expecting that the more students that apply, the more we would like to see increase it. And Eileen, you mentioned, yes, there's a unique partnership that we have going on. So most recently, LaGuardia Community College and Hostos Community College, we came together, and New York Community Trust has just put, money behind, again, enhancing a scholarship for our students by funding both of our college with over $1 million, so that over the course of the next 18 months, and it is the New York City Accelerated Workforce Recovery Hub. And what the intent is for us to be able to provide no cost middle skills training programs at LaGuardia and at Hostos. So over the next 18 months, LaGuardia will service 200 students, and Hostos will do an additional 200 students. And some of the courses that we're going to cover the cost are going to be in to ensure that students upskill, and that they, New Yorkers, can begin to take courses such as certified nurses assistant, patient care technician, community administrative assistance, in medical administrative assistance, and in technology, we're also doing computer support tech. So this is really, really unprecedented. The two colleges came together, the foundation community, New York Community Trust, and their grant officers were very grateful, because they said, we want to make sure that the money gets spent on the students. So we've put all of the money in scholarship to ensure that the tuition is covered, the books are covered, and anything that the students may need. And along with that, again, New York can be very generous, right? So most recently, we also are going to expand scholarships with funding from the Regional Economic REDC, again, supporting the collaboration and the joint effort of LaGuardia and Hostos Community College by also awarding us additional funding to also support, to increase and create more efficiencies in the support programs. So we're going to make sure that our case management system is in place and that our students are receiving the supports, and also the faculty. Because one of the things that the New York Community Trust grant officer said to us, we want to make sure that we start out with some of these certificate programs in healthcare and technology, but in 6 months, we want you to evaluate and see what the demand is. What are other certificate programs that we should be offering to students? So the ability to provide flexibility and to adapt and to change, hopefully to respond to the labor market demands, is something that we're not used to. So we're very excited and we're eager to continue to do that. And
So,
again,
Evelyn, I'm just going to stop you because we have
yes,
to take a break. But when we come back, I want to continue this, but also I want to ask you specifically about, because I'm sure people will want to know about what the technology classes are really going to be about, so people have
excellent.
an
Yes.
understanding. So let's just give it, we'll be right back. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Mission BX. And you're joining me, Eileen Newman, with Peter Mertens and Evelyn Fernandez-Ketcham from Hostos Community College, and they are the leaders of workforce development and continuing ed at Hostos. So we've been talking with Evelyn before the break about the kinds of new programs that are happening at Hostos. And I want to ask specifically, I know there's a new technology program. So could you, because I think people would be very interested in some details about what people will learn from being part of that technology program.
So yes, thank you, Eileen. At Hostos Community College, we are rolling out a computer support technician program, and we've been piloting that initiative over time. And with the new funding from New York Community Trust, we're going to be able to allow students to take this at no cost. Our computer support technician program is also a New York New York Department of Labor apprenticeship program. And one of the things that the apprenticeship model requires is that the employer is involved all along by hiring the apprentices. So currently we're in conversations with Cisco Networking that's going to help hire some of those to figure out how to make sure that those students pass the certificate program so that they can be hired in middle skills job. And technology is one of the areas that we're looking to expand at Hostos. We have a very robust certificate offerings and degree programs offerings in healthcare. That's what we're known for. So one of the things that we look forward to is expanding our technology offerings. Nevertheless, in the healthcare sector, we have an array of offerings that not just produce an industry recognized credential, but also lead to college, to being awarded college credits if a student wants to enroll in college as well. And Peter, if you want to expand.
Yeah. So, okay, Peter.
One of the things that we learned through COVID was people needed things at low cost or no cost. So during COVID, the division offered over 400 programs at no cost virtually for people, from cultural events to managing stress to managing your finance to anything that we thought people needed. We learned, due to the great response, we needed to do more low cost or no cost programming. So coming up this spring, we have a couple of programs that we're recruiting for. One is our home health aid contextualized ESL, where we're training people for free. All costs are covered to be a certified home health aide and to improve your English at the same time, because bilingual home health aides are necessary. It's also a career path. You start at home health aide, you become a CNA, you become a PCT, you go to college as a nursing degree. And what's really great about this program is it leads to a job at the end. You complete the program, you get certified, there is a job for you at the end of the program. That's one example of what we're doing. We also have this wonderful fatherhood academy where young fathers or expectant fathers who need to earn a high school degree get a free program. All expenses are covered, including stipends. There are father courses in being a better father. There are financial courses in how to manage your finances. And this program ideally leads to entry into a CUNY school. Ideally, we would hope Hostos. That program will be beginning shortly at the end of February. So some amazing new things are happening here at Hostos this spring. I encourage everyone to go to our website, to call our number, because what's critically important to us is the intake and assessment process, so that you don't just call us because something's free. You call us because it's something that you see a career path in, an opportunity to earn an income while you go to school, because being in an institution of higher learning, that's our ultimate goal. We want people to see their potential in a career path, in a higher education path, and improving the quality of their lives.
Mm-hmm. So I'm very happy that you started to talk about that, about the pathway for people, because and I think that is important, because very often I think people who are in need of work think of it as, I'll get this and I'll get a job, but that is that doesn't have everything to do with where they want to be 5 years from now or 10 years from now. And I think that that giving people the opportunity to think about a career pathway is also one of the things that makes this unique. I do have I have some bigger questions, but I do have a question about how the collaboration with LaGuardia came about and why LaGuardia.
Mhm. So that's a really good question, Eileen, right? Because it could be any of our sister schools. President Ken Adams and our President Coco de Felipes, and some of us, Sunil, Gupta, Hannah, we all have been working together in different projects in the past. And we just thought we were compelled. Look, if a global pandemic does not compel us to work together, then I don't know what will do it. And we said let's build our relationships with the private foundation, and let's have conversations and talk about what is it going to take for us as community colleges in two large neighborhoods, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx. It was important that we participated in a way that we could demonstrate our participation and also the impact that CUNY schools could potentially have in these neighborhoods. So it's about collaboration, partnership, and their strength in numbers, right? So it is important that we begin to test out how we as a CUNY system can participate in the recovery of New York City. And, the foundation said, well, we'll put our money behind that, starting with New York Community Trust. And I think that in the New York City philanthropic community, will support such efforts. And like I said earlier, the governor's office already has joined as well by making sure that we build the infrastructure as well. To Peter's point, we want to make sure that when a student comes to us, that we talk about, well, what is it that you're going to need to be in place in order to maximize success? At the end of the day, we're a higher education institution. So our business is to train, educate, and transition individuals to either four-year institutions or the world of work, right? But we need partnerships with our community-based agencies, which is why we're here talking to you today. One of the things that the New York Community Trust funding does is that we're asking at the two neighborhoods from LaGuardia and in the Bronx to solicit two nonprofits, two community-based agencies to work with us. We can't do this alone. So we need the partnership of the community-based agencies to work with us, to refer individuals to us, to collaborate, to figure out what's working, what's not working in order to maximize success. So we realized that, look, we need to come together at the end of the day.
And what's important to CUNY, led by our chancellor, is a living wage, a sustainable income that rises people out of poverty and improves the quality of their life. And so there's a charge that we're training people to entry-level jobs starting at $44,000 and above. And so what does that mean? It means that someone can start a little bit lower and work towards that. There's a whole career pathway in any one of our different certificate programs that we offer, that we work with people in assessing where they are currently, where they want to be, and then what that future looks like for them, whether it be employment or education, and then employment after education as part of their career pathway. And we have so many different CBOs that we're working with: the DOOR, DYCD, FIPS, Osborne, CEO. People come to us in the Bronx because they see there's a great need. Hostos is one of the poorest congressional districts of the United States. We have health issues. We have, especially during COVID. And so our goal is to get out into the community with these offerings and really help people improve the quality of their life.
So we're running out of time, but we have a few minutes left. So I have a future question. So from your vantage points, what do you see as those? We talked about health, technology. Are there other career pathways that you see as where people might be headed 5 years from now. What's sort of through the Department of Labor and the meetings you go to, what do you see as the future?
Thank you, Eileen. And, if we all had a crystal ball, right, it would be great, but we don't. But what we do know, for instance, most recently at our college this summer, we engaged in an environmental scan to look at, well, what are the careers? What are the sectors that we should be focusing on? And it consistently is still the labor market information is saying healthcare and technology. And we all know that the technology had already been revolutionizing and creeping its way into our lives. COVID said, we're going to force the issue. And now look at us. We're conducting this meeting from different places. At Hostos, we were already doing distance learning classes in some instances, but now this is forced upon us. So we have to figure out the different ways that technology can be leveraged. So one of the things that we're working on is coming up with a summer bridge program that focuses on 21st century, like a 21st century toolbox, I'm calling it, where our students can do a bridge program where they take with us courses such as data analytics, UI UX, which is end usability, in project management and Excel. Our students need to have those essential skills to be successful, not just for work, but for college. In some of those courses, what we're trying to do is figure out, well, what are the ways that they can live in the certificate program side, and how can we ensure that some of these certificates award college credits? Our goal 2022 is let's make everything count. So one of the things that we want to do is to ensure that many of our certificate programs count toward the world of work and for work, and count toward college. And one of the things that the way we're doing that is under a policy that now we have in CUNY, a CUNY-wide policy, that is the credit for prior learning or prior learning assessment, where we look at students, at individuals that come to us, and we look at their previous experiences outside of a classroom and figure out how can we award students credit through a challenge exam or through reviewing their transcript. But guess what? Continuing education and workforce development is part of Hostos. So we have our faculty looking at, certificate programs that make sense, that can be valuable and transition someone easily to college with college credits.
And that's, I'm sorry to say, all we have time for, but that was great. And I think that the next thing you should work on is the t-shirts that say, let's make everything count. I like that a lot. Yeah. So I think we really need to, with a little Hostos thing, I think this is, after this call, we need to think about that down the line.
Yes,
so
definitely.
Thank
make
you.
Make 2022 count.
Perfect. Perfect. So thank you both for doing this. This was really interesting. And we will have to say goodbye.
We'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. I hope that you got a lot of information from Peter Mertens and Evelyn Fernandez-Ketcham about training opportunities and job opportunities through Hostos Community College. And if you've missed part of the show or you'd like to see it again, you can just go to bronxnet.tv and you'll be able to get all of that information again. Thank you very much for being with us, and join us next time when we go to visit another excellent nonprofit working in the Bronx. What you